Okay, Antonio Conte has been unveiled as the new Spurs manager. This should have happened in the summer, but Conte wanted to make certain changes to how the youth system works, the scouting and recruitment works, and he also wanted one extra assistant as part of his team. That's Levy and the Spurs board did not want to sign. I think it was about they basically refused to pay an extra 3 million on the managerial coaching contracts. 3 million. That's all Conte was asking for in the managerial and scouting budget. Wasn't asking any extra for transfers. Just he wanted to have one extra member of his coaching setup. And Levy and the board did not sign off on it. They were like, no, we're not doing that. And Conte was like, well, bye then. Fast forward 4.5 months, they're gone, can you please be our manager? Because the guy who was like 6 choices after you, we've sacked him. Just like we sacked the guy before you and before him, who you replaced at Chelsea. We sacked him because he didn't agree with the direction the club was taking. And then we apologise for the direction we took with signing up for the European Super League. We're very, very sorry. Do you want to manage us now? This is, in a nutshell, Tottenham have no direction. They have no philosophy. It's we tried it with Poch, his style, which is, well, even at PSG, it hasn't really worked that well. We'll come close, and that's it. We'll choke, and then the players stop playing for Poch. And Poch even said, "I need to freshen up this squad. This squad is not good enough." They sack him because he was not happy with the direction the club was taking. Cue Mourinho. The only club Mourinho up to this point has not won silverware at is Spurs. We don't know what's going to happen at Roma because it's still reasonably early in the season. He could win some trophies at Roma. Only clubs Mourinho has not had any success with, Spurs. European Super League comes along. Mourinho's not happy with that. Break down the relationship, refuses to take training in protest. Doesn't like the direction the club's taking. Thinks it's the wrong idea. Sacked. They do not find a replacement until very late on in the summer in Nuno. And Conte was one of the candidates who was interviewed for the job. The sticking point was the coaching budget. They weren't willing to budge. Conte guys, I'll take an extra long summer holiday, thank you very much. They appoint Nuno. 4 months in, with hardly any transfer business done to bring players in, but players leaving the other way, Nuno is sacked. It's not Nuno's fault. It's not Mourinho's fault. To be fair, Pochettino has to take some responsibility because he did assemble a fair amount of this current squad, but out of Poch's squad, a lot of those players have left. The problem is, one of the reasons they spent a stupid amount of money on a stadium they didn't really actually need. They just wanted to. It was a vanity project. It was over budget and late in delivery by the developers. Cost the club stupid amounts of money. Turns out Levy went, yeah, we apologise, we made some mistakes there. Then they're now massively in debt because of the stadium. They don't sign any players for 18 months a couple of years ago. It was an 18-month period where they signed no one new apart from some youth players being promoted to the senior squad. That was it. That was it. No new non-Spurs product academy players were signed to the squad for 18 months. Let that sink in. They signed some nice contract extensions for players, but they didn't actually sign anyone new. Poch goes, we need to get some new players in, who just new players to the system. We've got the youth players coming through in dribs and drabs. We've got the core of the squad, but we need to freshen up with some new faces. Some new faces, some new impetus. Within 6 months, he's sacked. Mourinho comes along. He's sacked. Days before a cup final. They don't, as I say, the hunt for a replacement will have the backdrop of your club captain wanting to leave and the European Super League mess, which they completely mishandled. And it was embarrassing when it collapsed. It didn't take very long. What then transpired was how much debt Tottenham are actually. I think they're the third most indebted club out of the 12 that signed up for this Super League. They are racked with debt. COVID hasn't helped, but the stadium rebuild and not getting as much money off the NFL as they wanted, partly because of COVID, hasn't really helped them. Hence why they've been selling a lot of players this summer. A lot of players have gone. Players have asked for, like, when it comes to renewing their contract, oh, can I get an extra, like, 10 or 15 grand a week? Now, for most average fans, 10, 15 grand, yeah, that's like a year's salary for some people. Some players are getting a week. You couldn't make this up. Danny Rose, I use him as an example because he was very public in his salary demands. He's gone. Players that have actually asked for wage increases are out the door, apart from Son and Kane. Kane wants to leave. Tottenham don't want to let him go. He's their club captain, but he doesn't want to be there. So the relationship between Harry Kane, your club captain, and the board isn't great. Turns up late for pre-season training, doesn't start the season. Tottenham are winning without him in the team. So there's clearly a disrupted, divided dressing room. Conte has got 2 months to work with this playing squad that stopped playing for 2 out of the last 3 managers. And after Mourinho was sacked, they basically downed tools altogether and just scraped into Europe. How? I don't know. You know why? Actually, I do know why. The Europa Conference League, basically this plastic European trophy, which should be the Cup Winners' Cup. So if it was the Cup Winners' Cup, Tottenham wouldn't be there. They get into the new European competition that no fan actually wants, ironically. They're struggling in that. They're struggling in the league. They take a hammering by a Man United side. They got battered by Liverpool. Shows how far off the top 4 they are. This is the top 4. You've got Chelsea, Conte's previous club before Inter, flying high. You've got Liverpool, Man City, and West Ham. You've also got Man United, a team that were battered by Liverpool so embarrassingly. People going, sack Solskjaer. Nuno gets sacked first. And I think there's a few other clubs above them. They're 10 points off top spot, which says something. They're 5 points below Man United, who are nowhere close to the top 4 in right now for how they're playing. And they battered Tottenham. This is a club in real trouble. Real trouble. They've got no direction. They've got a playing squad that's divided, and they're not willing to invest in it. So it's going to be interesting to see if Conte can actually get the transfer funds he asks for, and gets to sign the players he wants, and gets to offload the players he doesn't want to keep. That's going to be an interesting relationship between Levy and Conte. Very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. It can go one or two ways, and it'll be interesting to see if Conte actually sees out his contract. It'll be very interesting. But there's a lot of pressure on the Tottenham board and Daniel Levy right now. The problem is Daniel Levy has a 20% stake in the club, so he's not going anywhere. But the board are under a lot of pressure. More pressure than I think Nuno. I think Nuno was thrown under the bus. Mourinho was thrown under the bus, and Poch, to a certain extent, was thrown under the bus, and the players have to take a lot of responsibility. But there you go. Conte is announced as Tottenham's new manager, but there's a backdrop of, God knows, a backdrop of carnage, basically, and mismanagement at Spurs. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually ends his contract, if he gets a contract extension, or if he goes before then. Because results have to change, but he's got 2 months to work with a squad that really doesn't, buy in, throws the toys out the pram. A squad that isn't good enough. 2 months. Then he gets to, make changes. It'll be interesting how much money he's given the budget. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.